Radyo Katipunan, 87.9 FM.
Radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpa at tama. Buhay atin sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng pera. Radyo, radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, Katipunero sugo. Todo sa kayod, tulong at tulong. Lipad na Blue Eagle, galing giting at igil.
Good take! Want to hear our take on all your favorite filmy things? Tune in to Clapback, the radio show for film critics, production news, pop culture, and social commentary. Serving as a place for our voice in our cinematic universe. Hosted by the Loyola Film Circle, Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Only here on Radyo Katipunan, 87.9 FM. Action!
Hey everyone, I'm Max.
I'm Nieto.
And this is Clapback, our very first episode post-intercession. So, to everyone who had an intercession, good job. Congratulations. You finally did it. If you see my background right now, we know that everything is fine. How was intercession for you, Nieto?
Well, like it is what it is. Like, honestly, is there a better description to say than it is what it is? Because I guess it was a big experiment for everyone to just get really used to online classes, even if it wasn't standardized yet on Canvas, which is supposedly going to be the learning management system for everyone on
Yes.
campus this upcoming sem. But like, it's I guess we all learned something at the end of the day.
Yes, we did. We did. I just can't help but wish that the classes I took this intercession, I was able to take on campus. The feel is just different. But, online classes, it was quite a challenge. But you know what? We all got through. We're all okay. And I think we're all a little more ready for the next semester. So, now that being said, Ateneans, don't forget to contact your departments. Don't forget to fix your IPSs because enlistment is next week. A different grade per day. So just make sure all of you are ready. So that being said, Nieto, how's Orsem? How can we welcome our freshies?
Oh yes, okay. Orsem's also going through some really big changes this year. Like I was telling this to my friend a few days ago. Like I feel like I'm back to square one, like back to 2 years ago when Orsem was also sort of under crisis, having to go through a 1 day Orsem because of bad
Our
weather conditions.
Orsem.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Our Orsem,
I remember that.
and I guess we're back to having Orsem under crisis. We're an online Orsem, and I think as someone who's working in RSM, I can assure everyone that we're all doing the best that we can, and honestly, it's going better than anyone could have expected.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. And I'm sure, like, given the short amount of time you guys were given, honestly, hats off to all of you, to the
Hmm.
TNTs, the hosts, the core member, the SecMo, everyone. All of you are doing so well. I've been seeing the promos and stuff. It looks amazing. And I'm sure that the freshies are going to feel very at home despite the online setup because of all of your efforts.
Definitely. Like honestly, I'm gonna take the time now to shout out the creative arm of Orson, because really they've been making huge strides in making Orson be felt more so than what I thought initially possible through an online setting. So really, it's just amazing what everyone's been doing over the past few months leading up to this week.
Yes, that's right. So anyway, moving on to our film news. But before anything, guys, appreciate my background because as I said, everything's fine. Well, anyway, moving on to our film news. So I think what rocked the internet the most this week was the fact that the original Avatar Last Airbender creators, Michael DiMartino and Brian Konietzko, that's how you pronounce it, sorry, left the Netflix live adaptation project. What are your thoughts on that?
Ooh, yeah. Like it's another honest it's like it calls back to Netflix's track record of just messing up IPs it acquires rights to. Like we've
Yes?
seen it with Riverdale, which is like it's a joke now, honestly. Like I do not know anyone who watches Riverdale for the story. They watch it to see what they can laugh at next. It's like, are they doing it on purpose? Is it like satire? Dude, I don't even know. What do you think about Riverdale?
Honestly, I think at first they were trying to see, like, they were trying to reinvent something that was so happy and present it differently since that's what people are used to. People are used to seeing Archie and those characters very happy. And then they decided to present it as what it was presented like, to do something different. Reinvention, and it was a risk, yes. And the audience took it the way they did. But I don't know if this approach will work for everything. I mean, especially something like Avatar, which is honestly very mature, even without including all of that darkness and stuff. The story of Avatar on its own tackles some very heavy topics. So making it even heavier with themes like this, like, is it really appropriate? Is it necessary?
Dude, like no way. It's already as mature as it is. Like the source material's already very it's not obvious on the surface, but it tackles like some really surprisingly heavy themes for a supposedly kids show, diba? Like
Yes.
we're talking about war, we're talking about like really heavy themes. It's been a while since I watched Avatar, but I'm sure everyone who's watched it knows what I'm talking about.
Yes, that's true. Well, apart from that, well, better news actually. Mulan will finally be premiered on September 4 after being moved twice. But the difference would be instead of being like live in cinemas, we're going to be seeing it on Disney Plus, which means unfortunately the Philippines isn't going to have it yet. But get this. So you know how Disney Plus is a streamer site, usually everything on it is free. Not for Mulan. Mulan, to
Ooh.
watch it, you will need to have a subscription and you'll need to pay an additional $30 to be able to view the film. So what are your thoughts on this?
That's that's weird. Like I don't think I've seen anything like I've never seen a streaming platform have to slap like that extra ticket no, the ticket fee onto the new content. Because like with Netflix makes like full fat cinema for the cinema type productions, and
Yes.
they just put it on their platform, no extra charge.
Yes.
And like seeing Disney do it, I guess, I don't know, maybe it's a production thing where Netflix, a Netflix production and a mainstream cinema production have different budgets, and ticket sales are accounted into that budget. And I guess like they're trying to recoup that, but then again, what do I know? I I don't work on that side of cinema, but like it's really weird.
Well,
Yeah.
fun fact, that was one of my research topics for our com class. And according to Disney, the reason why they needed to charge that additional $30 is because of the budget allocation. If they stream it for free, they won't even be able to break even with the original
Ooh.
production budget. Because you know how Disney has, okay, this is the type of budget we'll give movies and TV shows that go straight to stream. And this is the budget we'll give the ones that we know will be blockbusters
Hmm.
in cinemas. So to compensate for that, they needed to add that additional $30. And apart from that, they already lost a lot of money because Onward was in cinemas the week things started locking down worldwide.
Oh.
Yeah, so they already lost a lot of profit from there. So
Yikes.
this is their way of bouncing back from all of that. So a lot of people have mixed feelings, as you said. Like some are happy with it because they're like, that's $30 and that's the whole family. The whole family can watch it. You can watch it anytime after paying once. So that was one thing to take into account as opposed to buying multiple tickets. But of course, a lot of people are also like, but why would you pay $30 if I already paid for the streaming site?
Yeah, and like, do you get to keep watching Mulan after, like, let's say you opt out of a Disney Plus subscription? Do you get to like keep watching Mulan even if you're? Oh no, you
You
don't.
don't. You
Oh
don't. It's
no.
on your Disney Plus account. Like it's on top of your subscription. So if you want to if you want to watch it forever, you have to subscribe forever. I mean, that's just for now until they release the DVD counterpart of Mulan.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
anyway,
and yeah,
oh, I was going to move on to the next part of the segment. You ready for that, or you want to say
yeah.
something else?
No, let's go.
Alrighty, so today we are joined by a very, very special guest. So shout out to LFC. All of you are going to be very excited for this. Today, I present to you Mr. Roy Iglesias, a multi-awarded film writer and author. Many of his screenplays have gotten him nominations and wins for both Best Screenplay and Best Picture from the Filipino Academy of Movie Arts and Sciences Awards, or FAMAS, the Luna Awards, the Gawad Urian, Philippine Movie Press Club Star Awards, Young Critics Circle Award, and the Metro Manila Film Festival. His notable works include Manopo 1, 2, and 6, Escapo, Balair, Shake, Rattle, and Roll the Invasion, Yamashita and the Tiger's Treasure, Ganito Kami Noon, Paano Kayo Ngayon? And apart from that, he has also written for television, including GMA 7 Saan Darating ang Umaga and My Only Love. So, everyone, please welcome Mr. Roy Iglesias.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Good
Hello.
afternoon.
Hello,
Good
sir. Good
afternoon.
afternoon. How are you today?
I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm glad to be here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're glad to have you. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. So,
Okay. Yeah.
so
So,
fun
sorry.
fact. It's okay. So remember, everyone watching, to our audience, you guys can comment, leave questions, and we'll get to them later. Now, fun fact: Mr. Iglesias was actually my mom's college professor for film.
That
So,
makes you know my age already. Yeah, saying that.
so, sir, how was that like? Was she nice to you?
Oh, she was very good in class, and I think she
Wow.
was also my. I think she was also my advisee, a
Yes,
thesis
for
advisee.
thesis. Yes, yes.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Yes, she
I
told me
remember
about
her.
that. I feel like I already know
Oh.
you from all her stories. So, Mom, I know you're watching. There you go. He said you were nice.
Ah, and I
And yeah,
remember her as I think her favorite program that time was MacGyver.
MacGyver, yes, that's so
Yeah,
true.
right. Yeah.
Wow, you remembered.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Yes, we've been meaning to see MacGyver also. She wants me to watch it and see it the way she did. Yeah, so Nieto, take it away.
All right, all right, all right, all right. So I guess let's start off with like some personal questions. So, I guess everyone's still locked at home as much as possible. So, we want to ask lang, Sir Iglesias, what have you been doing this quarantine? Like, what's been keeping you busy?
Well, it's all it's writing and what films on Netflix, but it's mostly right. I faith that after a few months everything will go back to normal. Oh, well, that's the hope,
Oh,
no?
please.
Please.
And we can't just wait for things to go back to normal and start working, start writing.
Mhm.
No? We have to do it now in the hope that things will be better in a few months.
True.
Yes, that's right. Hope. That's what we need to hang on to, especially at
Please.
a time especially at a time like this. So I guess another personal question. We saw how multi-awarded you are. I mean, in that intro alone, like you've achieved so much. So how does it feel like
What?
to be so multi-awarded? And do you still get excited when a new one comes along?
Well, to me, it's a bonus. No?
It's a
Writing
bonus.
something that's recognized, it's a bonus. But it's more the act itself of writing is already a reward. For it to be for your script to be shown and to be accepted by the people, by the public, that itself is very satisfying.
I'm sure the feeling is different seeing your writing on screen.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, just a different high.
It
Yeah.
is.
I think I can relate as a screenwriter then, sir.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I guess now's a good time to jump into about this year's Metro Manila Film Festival. So I guess so let's look into how about your role for the film fest this year? What does it entail?
Well, I'm a member of the executive committee of the MMFF. Uh, discuss what the possibilities will be for December because nobody really is sure what's going to happen.
It's
If
true.
That's
the
true.
theaters do not open, then there's no there's no place we can show the films. We cannot book the films in an empty theater. So everything depends on what the government will say about the movie houses. Because as of now, even if we are under GCQ, uh, the theaters are not allowed to open. It's a non-essential industry.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going to happen. But we're still preparing. Again, we're thinking that perhaps the virus will disappear next
Please,
month.
please.
We hope, hoping for a miracle.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So things are well. We do things normally as if there's no pandemic, but really at the back of our heads, we know that, or we're not very hopeful that things will um, go back to normal in December.
So are we
So
allowed
that's a problem.
so
Yeah.
are we
Okay.
allowed to ask, like, is there a possibility of the film fest being held through streaming or through certain websites instead of in real life, just in case the situation stays the same?
That depends on the producers if they agree. But the thing is that uh, the income from movies really come from theater box office sales. Uh, a lot of it comes from box office sales. So how is it? How do we work it out? Like what happens to the let's say the tax, because part of the tax goes to the beneficiaries. So if we do streaming, then there will be no tax because we only collect
That's
the
true.
tax from the theater sales, the ticket sales. No? Dun pa lang may problema na. And then the producers may not allow it because uh, they can go direct to, let's say, Netflix and show it there, or to iWant if they want to use the streaming platform. We're not needed there anymore. So we lose our role in the festival if that happens. But more than that, it's uh, the share of the beneficiaries in terms of taxes. Mawawalan sila ng pera na mapupunta sa kanila.
Oh, I see. I see.
That's a different perspective. It's our first time being told something actually
Yeah.
from that perspective of a film festival.
Uh-huh.
So that's good to know. It's very enlightening.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. Now, what about, like, let's say I'm I'm interested in having pushing my own film into the festival. Like, I'm actually curious, what's the process or like a standard for making it into the film fest?
Well, at first you have to submit a screenplay, and then the first part of the process is that we select 4 screenplays because there are 8 entries, no? For the festival. 4 would come from the approved screenplays. The next 4 will come from finished products, meaning a finished film. I think that's going to be open next month. We'll be accepting finished films that we will be screening, if at all there are some finished films. And then we'll be selecting the next 4 films for the remaining 4 slots from those films. So if you don't make it to the four screenplays, first 4 screenplays, you can still participate by sending your finished product, and you might get selected. We don't know. It depends on the selection committee. Depends on what their preferences are. So that's how it is.
Yeah. All right. So now, moving on to your MMFF movies. So like Mano Po, Yamashita, Baler. What do you think contributes to the success of these films? Like, what do you think from your perspective?
Well, it's all different, no? And there are different factors involved.
Hello?
It's that well marketed. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can
Yeah,
hear
yeah.
you now. You got cut for a bit.
Okay.
We're back.
All right. There are a lot of factors. One is the marketing. If it's not a well-marketed film, then even if it's a good film, you won't get the crowds.
Definitely.
Yes.
Of course, when you are part of the 8 entries, there's a big chance that the audience will notice you because there are only 8 films. So that's why even if you think that you might not make it to number 1, because that's not really the objective of some of the producers. They want a share of the market. And you get a good share of the market if there are only 8 films competing for 2 weeks. And sometimes it goes to 3 weeks, depending on if the movie makes money. Huh? So that's exclusively for the 8 films. The market is exclusive for the 8 films. So if you're a small production outfit and you come up with a fairly good film, but it's not as commercial as the others, you still have a chance to make money because you'll be competing with only 8 films. You can get a share of that market. And probably later, when you release another film, the audience will already know you or your films, the kind of films that you do. And it's a way of developing patronage from your audience, which is difficult to do when there's no festival, because
Of course.
what happens there is you compete with the big ones of the big movies of Hollywood. You know that sometimes when it's a Hollywood blockbuster, there are no other films being shown but that film, right?
Yes.
All the
Definitely.
theaters
Yes.
are blocked. Yeah,
They
you
take
have
all-
that. Yeah, they have a monopoly of the theater.
Oh, that's
Definitely.
true.
So,
Definitely.
if you're a small, so kawawa ang kawawa ang local films actually pag ganoon. So very limited na yung booking namin, no? Because the big, I'm sure this time if things return to normal, there will be a lot of big Hollywood films, no, that will be shown probably next year. We might be eased out already from the theaters because James Bond was supposed to be shown middle of
Yes.
this year, right?
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
Yes.
they postponed. I don't know if it's going to be released in October. I doubt it. But if the theaters are not open by October, they'll release it next year. So
Ooh.
magsisiksikan lahat yan next year sa teatro. So mukhang kawawa rin ang local films pag ganoon.
Oh yeah.
And the problem with local films is, what else can we offer, that can compete with the huge Marvel blockbusters? Wala, ang hirap eh.
That's true.
Mm.
That's actually something to think
So
about.
that's-
How yes. You're saying, sir?
Yeah, it's okay.
That's actually something to think about. Like, how will the movie schedules be like next year when everyone would probably take their first chance at releasing to go put their movies up? But there is a very big demand for local films. A lot of people are gaining an appreciation for it, not only from this quarantine but even before, especially in our generation. So I'm sure that a lot of local films will still be able to find a place in cinemas. Am I right, Nieto?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but yes, but you have to understand that the theater owners are also a part of this. No? The audience may like Filipino films. We have the hunger for it after this long quarantine, but the theater owners have lost a lot of money. So of course they will
That's
true.
place their
true.
bets on the huge ones from Hollywood, diba? Uunahin muna nila yung
That's
sa
true.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
Kaya kawawa din ang local.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess like film doesn't exist in a vacuum talaga. It has to play around with the entire industry thing. And at the end of the day, it has to make money in order to just sustain itself.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't want us, I'm in the creative side of filmmaking. So what we want is just to have our film produced and watched by the audience. We don't care about the money, right? But the producers, of course, they have to make money, and we have to understand that. Kaya the best thing for us to do is to really produce our own films.
Yeah. Okay. So, sir, you mentioned that you are on the creative side of things. So, as a fellow creative, if I can say that,
yeah.
I want to ask lang, like, from your movies, like, which ones are you most proud of? I'm actually very interested.
Well, I like all of them. It's like having it's like having children. It's like having children, and you can say you have only one favorite.
Aw.
I like all of them, but of course, what's memorable for me was my first film, no? Ganito Ka Man Noon, which was again, I was only 18 years old back then,
Wow.
but that was in the 70s.
Oh, so young.
Yeah, I was in the 70s. That was back in 77. No? That was memorable for me because it was my first. And then, of course, films that won awards. Some films that I never took seriously because I thought it was not going to turn. Yeah, because I thought it was not going to turn out well because a lot of problems cropped up during production. When things happen that way, you'd always think, ay, hindi maganda ang labas nito. But eventually, when it's already there, it turns out to be a good film. I mean, it's wonderfully made. In the beginning, you quarrel with the director and the producer.
Oh no! Oh
Yeah.
no!
But after that, when you see it, wow, okay naman pala. You've gone through all this quarreling and all the, sama ng loob.
Sama ng
eventually, when you see
loob.
when you see it, ang ganda naman pala. Okay naman pala.
Yeah, it's a trust the process kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
So true.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that
sig-
reminds us actually of how we're student filmmakers in our film classes. We have that same thing with our group mates. Sometimes your visions are different. So you're just like,
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
no, but then when you see the finished product's relatable, glad to know that it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you forgive each other, right?
Yes.
You
Yeah.
forgive each other. Bati na kayo.
Yeah, at the
Yeah.
end of the day, everyone's friends again.
Yeah, right.
Sige.
And then you think of the next project together, right?
On to the next one.
Oh yes, on
Always.
to the next.
Yeah. So actually,
Naputol
sige,
ka.
that has me thinking
Are
now.
you
Like,
still there?
Yes, yes, we're still
oh,
here. Are you still
hello?
there?
yes.
Can you
Sorry?
hear us? We can hear you.
Yeah. I can hear you.
Okay, okay,
Okay.
good.
Okay.
Okay. So that actually has me thinking. What about naman your most challenging production, sir?
Wow. Lahat yun challenge. Lahat siguro challenge. Lahat yan eh. Kasi that's why whenever when I go over my list, no, and then I'll think about this film, I remember the things that happened before, during, before it was produced, the hardships that I went through while writing it, and then all those things. Babalik yun sa isip mo eh. But the thing is, when you see that you've done all these things already, and they've been well received, ang saya rin eh. Ang saya din. Maganda rin isipin.
Hmm.
And I'm sure you have that feeling too, no? When you do your own films. Diba? Alam mo, when doing films is like doing magic. Like a magician knows the tricks already, you know, but when they present it in front of an audience, the audience is amazed. They're awed because they don't know the tricks. They don't see what's happening behind the trick. But you know. So alam mo yung ang hirap i-rehearse yung trick na yon, papaano. Alam mong nag-fail ka doon pero hindi alam ng audience, di ba? Hindi alam ng audience na nag-fail
Oh
ka doon.
no.
Hindi eh, kasi yung audience is just watching and thinking that, ang ganda. Ang ganda ng magic. Pero hindi. Minsan hindi eh. Alam mo naman na sablay ka doon eh. Oh. When I do TV, it's also like that. In one, I did a teleserye back in early 2000. There was a problem in the production. Because the cast was made up of a whole family of artists. It's a family of artists. So towards the end, I did the script already, and we were prepared for it. And then suddenly, I had to revise because two main characters had to leave for the States because they had commitments. Another had to do something else, and they had no more time to follow the script. So we just had to make do. No? And then you know what happened? A year after, when the awards came, it even won best series.
Oh no way.
And myself and the director were laughing because pero kung ano-anong ginawa lang namin, pero nanalo pa, di ba? Ibig sabihin, because the audience doesn't know these things, eh, di ba?
Yes,
Di
that's
nila
true.
alam yun eh. Di nila alam yung... That's why sometimes it doesn't fit the perfectionist. Then you want to perfect it. Sometimes you lose the opportunity of completing the film because you want it to be perfect. Minsan napaglipasan na.
Yes.
Kasi gusto mo maging perfect eh. But you see, the audience will not know. They don't know.
That's true.
It's not like you're fooling them, but the thing is, they don't know those problems that you're going through. They don't care about those problems. What they want is a good show. They want a good
That's
movie. And if you're able to do that, you don't have to worry about the hardships that you have to go through. Yung mga kapalpakan ninyo, hindi na dapat, kayo-kayo lang naman yan eh. Ay, importante yung end product, di ba? It's the end product.
Yes.
So that's
Yes, I think that's something very important for us to keep in mind, especially as film students.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, that was nice
And
to
it's not
know.
going to be your last film. Oh.
Oh, yes.
It's not going to be your last film, di ba?
Hopefully,
You'll have the
hopefully.
Hopefully
chance to
not.
do more films.
Okay, so before we move on to specifics, I'll take the time to read some of the comments. So, hello to Enrique Escobar. I
Uh-huh.
see your hello. Okay, my mom, Mr. Iglesias, she commented, she said, such a treat to see one of my favorite professors. And yes, MacGyver was my favorite. So, wow, you still
Wow.
remember. You still remembered after all this time. From Mushu Mendoza, hi Angelo Nieto. So,
Hi.
so hello everyone. So remember that the floor is still open for questions. If you guys have anything you want to say, any reactions to our classmates and the LFC org mates who are here, come on guys, now's your chance.
With questions like right now. Go, go, go.
Yes, anything. Drop them below and we'll get to them later, we promise. So anyway, as I said, we want to talk about some specifics. So recently, I watched your movie Escapo. And
Uh-huh.
yes, it's a story that's actually very relevant today because of the parallelisms, because of the situation, and of course, the recent events that have been happening. So, at the time this movie was written, what prompted you to tell the story?
Well, idea of turning the experience of the escape into a film came from Serge Osmeña, one of the escapees.
Yes.
He wanted to make a film about that.
Oh.
So Pete Lacaba and I, well, at first, Pete Lacaba was contacted to do the screenplay. Then Pete called me in so that we could collaborate. So we did it because it was a request from Serge Osmeña. And then, of course, parts there we had to Hollywoodize, so that
Yes.
it was like the ending. You've seen the ending. That didn't happen that way.
The chase?
It was no. There was a chase after when they left when they were able to escape from the prison cell or detention cell. It was a chase, but chase with the what is it? And you know,
Hello?
it was
Sir.
like
Are you still with us,
yeah.
Mr. Iglesias? Okay,
yeah.
you froze for a bit.
You hear me?
Yes, we
Yes,
can
sir.
hear you now. So
Okay.
sorry, but I think you'll need to repeat that for our viewers.
Yeah. Okay. You hear me?
Yes, we
Yup,
can
yup,
hear
yup.
you clearly
me?
now. Yes.
Okay. Okay. The chase was, of course, didn't happen. You may barilan and all that. No, that was a Hollywoodized version. There was a chase pero walang barilan. But they were
I
able
see.
to escape.
Yes.
But we had to do that because it's part of the drama. I mean, if he just disappeared, then uh, what kind of a movie? It's not a film drama, no?
Of course.
So we had to do that. But it is not. It was not. It's not like you were fooling the audience because it's the same thing. They being chased and their lives being in danger.
Of course.
Yun lang naman ang point doon. And then you put that in to dramatize it. So yun ang nangyari doon. There are other things that I had to do, like the character of the wife, because the wife of Sergio Osmeña, because he was already living with another wife,
Oh.
a
Okay.
second wife. So what name will you give the wife in the movie?
Yes.
Diba? Yung mga things like that, because it might antagonize the current wife. So yung mga ganon, because at the time when
Sure.
Sir, sorry, but you got cut again. Probably because of the weather. So
Yeah, the weather's pretty bad. Like it
it
just stopped
is.
raining here.
Yeah, I
S-
mean, here it's still kind of grumbling. I can hear it. So it's probably the rain cutting it off. So I guess we'll have to wait for him to come back. But
yeah,
for now, like I'm actually learning. I'm learning a lot,
definitely same.
right?
Like it's one thing. Like I thought I already knew like a fair amount of like the process, I guess, of oh, sir.
Sir, we heard you. Are you back?
S- Oh, sir, please.
Please. Not yet. So, Sir
Not yet.
Justin,
Okay.
help him out, please. I really got a new perspective on film festivals today. Like
Definitely,
with everything
definitely.
he mentioned about tax and of course on cinema owners as well and what makes money. Like that's
Yeah,
actually good for all of us to know. I mean, we both take com. A lot of our audience members take communications or are in the Loyola Film Circle. So that was actually very important. All of us could use that knowledge.
definitely, definitely. Like,
Uh,
oh, wait,
Is
sir,
he
sir,
back?
he's back.
yeah, I'm here.
Yay, he's
Yes, let's
back.
Yeah,
go,
I'm
let's
here.
go.
Uh, yeah. Okay. Hear me?
Yes, we
Yes,
hear you now.
sir, yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Uh, so, are there questions?
Uh,
Um, none. Nieto, do you have questions? There are none from the audience yet.
None for okay. So I guess okay, I'm gonna take this time to ask my questions as a screenwriter. Like, okay, I noticed from your filmography that a lot of your work actually deals with like historical and cultural topics, like yun nga, Baler and the Manopo series.
Yes.
Like, what's it like handling those details
Uh,
as a writer? Like, how do you play around with that?
well, you do a lot of research, no? But the thing about me is that I don't do research when the project is there. I do research way before that because uh, I like collecting trivia, collecting historical trivia and all that. Baler, actually, that event in Baler, I was able to read that. Well, not read it, but I stumbled upon it uh, 15 years ago before the movie. And I got interested because somebody, a friend of mine, said, "This is going to make good film material." He gave me the document. When I got the document, it was written in French. I
Wow.
don't speak French.
Oh.
I don't speak French. So I had to have it translated. But only part of it was translated. And then I really wanted to turn it into a film, to a screenplay. But I asked myself, what producer will be interested in this? It's a historical film, and I've been told that when you do a historical film, then that's the case of death in the box office. Historical films don't make money, so I just kept it. But researching around it, and then 15 years later, a producer wanted to do the film along with a politician who was also, the guy, Senator Angara wanted to do a film about Baler, and he wanted to use that event in Baler, turn of the century event or happening as the film story. So it was not difficult anymore for me. I have background already. I've researched it. I know it already. So all I needed was some people who could research some more for me, especially those who understand Spanish and French, because some of the documents at the time were written in those languages. So yes, a lot of research is needed. In Manapo, it's the same thing, research and I interview people, but the research continues. Even up to now, whenever I see an interesting story or event, historical event, I dive into it and do research, not even thinking that I might turn it into a film someday. But I
Oh,
just do my research because I just lap it up because I know that if it's not going to be directly turned into a film, somehow there's going to be an opportunity where uh, the knowledge that I got from there will be of use in that project, whether it's going to be a historical project or a project about people and emotions and all that. That's how I do it.
nice. So, all of that being said, and all of the research you mentioned, if you could write about anything, since we're on the topic of historical event movies, is there anything historical or cultural that you want to turn into a movie right now? Like anything at all?
Well, I've been wanting to do a film about a guy named Carlos Malonzo. I think he should be the hero of broadcast media.
Oh,
Carlos Malonzo, because Carlos, when what was it, 15 years ago, again, 15 or 20 years ago, uh, the widow of Carlos Malonzo approached me and she wanted the life story of her husband turned into a film. Carlos Malonzo was a 16-year-old kid during the Japanese occupation. And the wife who approached me at that time, 15 years, during the Japanese occupation, was also around 16 years old. They were very young. I mean, but Carlos Malonzo wanted to became the voice of the Philippines, the voice of freedom. Because what he did at the time was to do a ham radio and broadcast anti-Japanese propaganda, anti-Japanese news that he would get from shortwave radio from Hawaii, from Guam, and uh, he would relay it to the Filipino audience using a ham radio. So the Japanese got found out about it and sent out a dragnet for him to capture him. And he was able to elude them for a time until he got caught. And the Japanese were surprised because they found out that it was only a kid who was doing it. A
wow.
teenage kid who was doing it. But they captured him just the same. And then they brought him to Fort Santiago. And then they asked him, we will let you go if you pay allegiance to the Japanese flag. So he was shown the Japanese flag. It was spread out on a table, and he was asked to bow before it. But what he did was to spit on it. He spat on it, and that angered the Japanese. So instead of releasing him, he got imprisoned. And then, of course, he was tortured. And after a time, the girlfriend, no, the wife, because they got married early, si Violeta, was also imprisoned in Fort Santiago, but in a different area for girls. Violeta only found out weeks later that Carlos Malonzo was executed. He was beheaded. At 16 years old, he died for the country. 16 years old, now when we look at the 16-year-old kids now, they enjoy doing TikTok and all these things. They want to go hang out and do hookups and all that. But look at this, though. At that time, he was already at a young age. He could have thought of himself, his future, and his personal future, and his girlfriend, his wife, a young wife, and could have just saved himself. He could have just pledged allegiance to the Japanese flag, and then later go underground. He did not. He showed the Japanese that he was a principled man. Imagine that, and nobody knows about that. I want to write a film about him because nobody knows about this guy, what he did, and at that age, a very young guy. Sayang. So yun, gusto kong gawin yun. I already pitched it to a producer, but I don't know whether it's going to push through.
Well, let's hope for the best because I think that's a very important story to be told. I mean, we hear the name, but we don't know the story. And a movie would be a very good platform, of course, to get that story out there to more people. And yes, to the 16-year-old TikToker. I'm sure they'd love to see that. So, since we're still on the topic of historical movies, historical fiction, what draws you to the genre of historical, like, things that are historical?
Because it's something that we all forget or we ignore. I mean, there's no history class. Is there? Is there a history subject in?
Yes.
There
in
is?
Ateneo, we have
that's good
one
to know.
history class like almost every year. Am I right? Yes.
Yep.
Oh, that's good because in some schools they have already removed it. Wala na sa iba eh. I don't know in high school, but and of course, the history that is being taught in high school is, all it's about dates,
Yes. Yes.
When
it's
did this
timeline.
happen and all that? Yeah, it's not. You don't interpret or even know why this person is called the hero or what went behind the scenes when this person was going through the period. Hindi natin alam yan eh. So, doing films about historical personages and events would help fill in the blanks. I mean, of course, we cannot do historical films every year or every month, but we can choose the historical periods we could dramatize. And there's one actually project that's being asked for me to do. It's about Lapu-Lapu. Lapu-Lapu, there's very scant historical records about Lapu-Lapu. But how did he become a hero? Why do we consider him a hero? And some historians say he was just a pirate. Is that true? He was just a pirate who happened to clash with Magellan. Pero is that true? We don't know. And if it's true, so what? If it was a pirate, but he was part of that that incident that turned things around for history, for the way things advance at that time. Yung mga ganon sana eh. We don't have those things now. And I don't know, even television doesn't do it, do
Hardly.
Historical series.
Seldom.
Hardly,
Seldom
yeah.
now.
Again, because it doesn't make money or the advertisers will not buy it. I don't know. But yun ang problema. So maybe you guys can do it do the same thing, no? Dig into the past and find the story gem in the past and turn them into film. Since you're doing film already, am I correct?
Yes.
Yes,
we have a few units. Yes.
Oh, that's good.
We have a few film units, so something to topics we can use for our projects. Yes, and for context, we're part of the Loyola Film Circle. That's Ateneo's film organization. So we really do come up with short films every year. And I think like after this, we can start looking at
Ah.
historical events and eras for some source material.
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
It would be nice to
It
see.
doesn't have to be about. It doesn't have to be about heroes. No?
Yes.
It can be about a particular an ordinary person during that era. Like ganito kami noon was not about heroes. It was about as a peasant during the turn of the century and how he was affected by the events around him. So it can be something like that. It doesn't have to be, and it doesn't have to be huge, diba? It doesn't have to be huge. Kasi pag sinabing historical, isip natin, ang laki, ang daming parang General Luna na no?
That's true. It really influenced a lot of.
Yes.
That's also a good film, no? Bihirang gumawa ng ganyan. But it doesn't have to be that big. Historical films or films about the past. So I'll wait for your films, huh?
You'll be
you can
waiting a
count on
very
it,
long
sir.
time.
You can count on it, though. You can count on it, sir.
Yes.
Abangan ko mga films, especially you.
course.
Like text me when you have a film or it's going to be shown or whatever. Text me naman so that I want to watch them. I want to
We
see
will.
them.
We will when we have them.
We have them.
When we have them, we will.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So before we end,
Yeah.
now the very, very light quick fire questions. Nieto, you start.
Okay. So, sir, anything you're looking forward to after the quarantine?
I want to go to a movie house.
All of us.
Same.
Yes.
Same.
So relatable.
I miss the movie house. I miss it. So the first thing probably is to go watch a movie. I don't care what movie, but watch a movie in a movie house, in a cinema.
The
Yeah.
experience is just really
Of
different.
course. With popcorn?
Yeah.
Popcorn.
With
Big
popcorn
screen.
or even without.
Basta nandun sa theater
As long as you're sitting
Yeah.
there and you're seeing it. So
yeah.
Kimi, a while ago you mentioned that you've been watching shows on Netflix. So what was the last thing you saw on Netflix?
Ano ba? Wow, ang dami kong pinanood sa Netflix eh. I think I watched Caliphate. Have you seen that?
No, not
No,
yet. What's
no,
it
no,
about?
no. It's about a family in Middle East, and they're part of the ISIS.
Oh.
The ISIS. And then how they were able to get out of that place. It's an interesting series. Very limited, no? I think it was only a few episodes. Pero nagustuhan ko siya. I like it. I
Was
also
it
watched
Was it a docu-series or a
no,
series?
feature. Yeah.
Oh, feature.
Narrative. I also watched Dead to Me. I don't know if you've seen that. It's a black comedy. Also interesting. Interesting. Very entertaining. Maganda yung
Entertaining.
characterization.
Oh.
Good characterization. Interesting twists. In the
Interesting.
plot.
Maybe that's something we can all add to our watch list.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, it's 6 p.m. Time flies when
is
we're
it?
having fun. And this was a very lively discussion. And honestly, we learned so much.
Definitely.
It was so insightful.
Thank you.
Yes, and it was so nice. It was so nice hearing your perspectives on everything we talked about, because as students we only know so much, but now our views on film, on the film fest, on everything, they're so much wider. And I know that even our audience members, they learned so much. As a film org, we thank you so much for joining us again today.
Thank you.
So thank you
for having me.
this is the closest
you.
I'm going to get to experiencing what my mom did, a class from you. So I'm glad to have experienced it this way, even if it's over Zoom. So before we end, Mr. Iglesias, is there anything you want to say? Anything you want to tell our audience?
Uh, uh, is this only for Ateneo, or is this being heard elsewhere?
We have viewers outside of Ateneo, but we also have viewers inside Ateneo.
Okay. I used to teach there in Ateneo.
Oh, really?
Ooh.
Yeah. No, I used to teach. I used to teach film in Ateneo. What is this studio? Is this a studio or what? Or sa bahay
We have a
lang?
studio.
Uh-huh.
On a normal day, we would be in a studio. So Radyo Katipunan would broadcast from the Radyo Katipunan, from the Radyo Katipunan place on campus, and then our film classes though would be in another studio, which is what we call the com building. So within the Loyola school.
Okay. It's within the com building. This one.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. But I think the old com building has been demolished, no?
Oh, it's still there, but it's a theater
It's still
now.
there. Okay.
It's a theater now. We use it for plays. Yes.
Oh, that's where I teach, in the old building.
Oh.
Ooh.
So matagal na yun. Yeah.
So apart from
Regards
that,
to your mom.
yes,
Regards to your mom.
I'll extend them to her. But anything,
And to your dad.
Yes, I will definitely. So any closing words before we close for the day?
Well, I just want to thank you, the two of you, for having me and for the opportunity to get connected with your audience. Thank you very much.
Thank you for saying yes to this. So, okay, we're already over time. This was Mr. Roy Iglesias. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. We can't thank you enough. And once again, I'm Max.
Yato.
And this has been Clapback. Good luck. Once again, congratulations for those who finished intersession. Good luck next week for enlistment and fixing your IPS. We stand in solidarity for this.
No, email your departments.
Yes,
email
this
your
is your
profs.
reminder. If you haven't sent those emails yet, send them right now.
Now, huwag ka nang paligoy-ligoy. Just do it
Yes.
now.
Send them right now. So once again, this has been Clapback. Thank you very much. And we'll see you all for Rec Week in September. Bye!
Bye.
Cut! Good take! Want to hear our take on all your favorite filmy things? Tune in to Clapback, the radio show for film critics, production news, pop culture, and social commentary, serving as a place for our voice in our cinematic universe. Hosted by the Loyola Film Circle, Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Only here on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Action!